Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay guys, we are from group 10. Okay, before we start our presentation, let us introduce ourselves first. Okay, me, Litbak Rosuli, as a moderator. My friends are Dieska, Dela, Lia Hidayati, and Malinda Putri. Okay guys, our material and our title today is Instructional Media Production Management. Okay guys, the first material will be presented by Dieska, Dela. Dieska, time and place are yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay guys, we are from group 10. We will explain about instructional media production management and visual design for instructional media. Before that, I will introduce our member. Our member are I am as Dieska dan Afifah, and then Lia Hidayati, Litbak Rosuli, and Malinda Putri. So the first explanation will be explained by me. Explanation about instructional media production management. The first is chapter overview. Instructional media production is the process of bringing to life the instructional designer's plans and specification. Once an instructional designer or design teams conduct the necessary analysis, develop the goals and objectives, specify the activities, and determines the appropriate evaluation procedures. Some person or group must actually create the media that will provide the instructional or instructional support. Okay, there are three production process. The first is pre-production and production and then post-production. So the first is pre-production. Pre-production is planning phase. Production includes design and development, and pre-production includes contribution, integration, and archiving of the product. In the pre-production phase of a media project, a clear description of what the product will be even it finished is developed. Also, all the resources necessary to realize the project are determined, and a time frame from completing the various production tasks is worked out. And then the second is about production. In the production phase, the final design of the project is developed, and all the necessary components for its completion are created and integrated. Depending on the types of media being produced, this may include the creation of specific graphic elements, typeset, text, soundtrack, video footage, and or computer software. And then the last is post-production. In the post-production phase, the finished product is made ready for contribution to those who are going to use it. Often during post-production, the product is also archived so future production teams have access to the product and its components. Okay, next about organizing. A production team takes the raw material sources available and uses those resources to create a finished product. Good production teams consist of people with a variety of skills and talents. And then the roles and responsibilities of the members of any production teams depend on the type of product being created. For example, a team responsible for production computers with multimedia may include the following. First is production manager, responsible for the organizing and timing of the production. And then subject matter expert, an individual who is a specific and authority in the content area of the product. And then writer, responsible for gathering text, scripts, and documentation. And art direction is responsible for the product look and feel by specifying such things as color, themes, artwork, and typeface. The art direction oversees the effort of the graphic artist. And then graphic artist responsible for creating and graphic elements specified by the art direction. Next, about sound designer, responsible for designing and producing audio elements. And then video direction, responsible for gathering and creating video elements. Next, about video editor, responsible for preparing video elements specific by the video direction. Next, interface designer, responsible for specifying and producing human-computer interaction. And then programmer, responsible for making a working version of the software. And the last is talent, the actor whose body, face, and voice interpret the writer's script. Next, about production management. Production management includes the establishment and execution of those tasks and procedures that facilitate the completion of a project within a set of specific parameters. The parameters include a time frame of a given set, available resources, including such as tools and skills of production teams member and money. Okay, the next about the media production cycle. Time, resources, and quality. The media production cycle is expenses and interplay between times, available resources, option. This is the money available to pay for service, and quality. The ideal is to always produce a high quality product quickly and inexpensively. And then the last is about planning for success. So many production plans include a list of critically important dates along with a description of who is responsible for approving elements for the design prior and production. So there are three planning production for success. The first is the production calendar. The first is pre-production, and then production and post-production. Okay, that's all my material. The next material will be explained by Lia Hidayati. So Lia, thanks is yours.
Okay, my name is Lia Hidayati. So here I want to continue the next material. So the material is about style and technical guides. Okay, creating or agreeing on a few style guides that everyone used as they contribute to the project is highly recommended. Style guides help to unify the project, providing standard for the product, visual looks, feel, and functionality. As the project progresses, it's advisable to create style manual for all media that will be incorporated into the final product. A style manual often contains specific details for fonts, color scheme, graphic, and also sound. Okay, the next is about storyboard. Okay. In the early stage of production, virtually all film, video, and animation projects are translated from a script to a storyboard. The storyboard visually depicts the script. Traditionally, a storyboard is indeed a board which is a post-stroke sketch that visually tells the story. The entire working on the project to share a single vision of what the product should look like in a vinyl form. Some wonderful examples of storyboards are available as extracts on the DVD version on film and animation features. And also the next is about prototyping. Prototyping is a common method of production. This is true for automobiles, architecture, animation, and software development. Which merit example of successful application of this method, rapid prototyping is a production strategy that requires starting with a very sketchy idea that involves through multiple prototypes to arrive at a finished piece. Okay, and then for the next slide, it's about communication and conflict resolution. Okay, and then for the next slide, it's about communication and conflict resolution. Okay, for key communication strategies that can help are respect, regular consultations, specific specificity, and preparatory maintenance as Brown, Green, and Zect 2001. For the first is about respect. Individuals must realize that each member of the team brings to the project a set of unique skills and talents as well as unique perspective. Regular consultation, regular meetings, phone conversations, or correspondence are an important part of the production process. So, specificity. Everyone involved in the production process should strive to be as specific as possible. And then last is about paper trail maintenance. During pre-production and the early stage of production, have everyone share layouts, sketches, and storyboards as much as possible to establish a shared vision of the finished product. Okay, for the next slide, it's about watch out for cowboys. One classic problem that many instructional design teams face, sometimes referred to as the cowboy or hero or superhero syndrome. A cowboy is someone who is usually highly competent but doesn't work well with others. Okay, and next is about tips for successful teamwork. Working in team is commonplace, and most of us appear as members of a variety of teams during any given week. We are members of departments, faculties, work groups, classes, and etc. And we take on specific roles within those group in order to accomplish tasks that are important to us as individuals, as important to group as a whole. Teamwork has its benefits and its drawbacks. As you begin to form teams and plan for completing a production project, you might want to take the following for completing a product project. You might want to take following into consideration. For the first is about teamwork requires communication. The second is about team should consist of people with opposite roles. And the third is about teamwork requires consensus. Okay, and then for the next slide, it's about evaluating the product. Okay, in describing the production of instructional software, Alessi and Trolip 2001 write, although there is much research in learning and instruction to guide us in developing instruction, the best guarantee that a program will be effective is to try it out, revise it, try it again, and so on until you get it right. In trying it out, the critically important evaluative activity involves close attention to the reactions and responses of the clients and the end users. Okay, and then for the next slide, it's about final thought. Okay, all aspects of production management and evaluation should serve the project, not the other way around. Think of the calendar, priority list, prototypes, and evaluation strategies as support piece that aid in creating a high-quality piece of instructional media. If at some point any of the support piece creates more problem than it solves, then it may be time to re-evaluate it and create modify or new support piece to replace the one that is not actually offering support. And last is about summary. Okay, there are 3 phases to any production project: pre-production, production, and post-production. And in pre-production, a production team is formed that consists of managers, directors, and artists. Management is responsible for project organization, timing, and the development of resources. Directions are responsible for the look and feel and of the product. Artists create the elements necessary for the project's completion. A project is usually instigated at the request of a client, and the client and the client's satisfaction with the project is in large part of measure of its success. Okay, it's enough for the material for me.
Okay, uh, chapter overview. There was a time when professional commercial artists and print specialists took care of designing and producing almost the print materials instructional design used. Now, more often than not, instructional designers make many of their own print materials by using computer-based word processing, image manipulation, web editing, and desktop publishing tools. The final product may not be as good as it would be if it were produced by an experienced commercial artist, but do-it-yourself materials have the advantage of being quick and expensive to make. Okay, there was a time when professional commercial artists and print specialists took care of designing and producing almost all the print materials instructional designing designers used. Okay, here is why instructional designers need to learn about visual design. Okay, uh, when desktop publishing tools first became available in the 98, 1980s, professionals of all types made widespread but indiscriminate use of them to add graphics and styled text to their work. Graphic designers, trained in the complexity of visual thinking, criticized the use of these tools and expressed concern that software companies were overselling their products' capabilities. Okay, this is Scriver 1997. Today, desktop publishing and web editing software are even more sophisticated, but the situation remains the same. Although many programs are available that allow one to dump text and graphics into a ready-made template. This is not a responsible substitute for understanding and applying visual design principles. Okay? Okay. Here is a basic principles of visual design. Okay? In the non-designer's design book, this is 20 uh, 2015, author Robin Williams presents four basic principles of visual design. Okay, there are alignment, contrast, repetition, and proximity. Okay, visual design tips. Do not be timid about negative space, the empty or unused space within a visual design. Second one is make use of faces. Human beings are naturally drawn to faces. Think of the billboards and magazine advertisements that attract your attention most quickly. Okay, and the last one is the bulleted list, like this one. To separate discrete bits of information while simultaneously grouping them together.
Okay, now presented by me. My presented are a tip in visual design. Uh, the tip phases that we use to present texts are considered to be in one of three categories. The categories are serif, sans serif, and decorative color. 1. Serif text is generally considered the easiest text to read. 2. Sans serif is literally without serif. Sans serif text is the second most readable type of text and is often used for section headings and section Arial and Helvetica are examples of sans serif typefaces. 3. Decorative typefaces is actually what its name implies. These are the fancy typefaces that are most often used to give print material a specific style or personality. 2. Color. Color is generally organized into two types of color models. The three primary colors of an additive color model are red, green, and blue. 2. The three primary colors of a subjective color model are yellow, magenta, and cyan. In a subjective model, mixing the pigment model because it explains how pigment such.
Okay guys, that's all for our presentation and our materials. We are sorry if we have any mistakes. For Allah and forgive us. Okay, the last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.